To the average scrutinizing eye, I appear the farthest thing from a botanist, and of course the assumption is correct, but I've always been reminded the advantages of eating plenty of leguminous plants, or at least the edible parts of leguminous plants widely regarded and or consumed as food. Perhaps what I'm referring to is not obvious. What I'm talking about are peas. For yours truly, growing up wouldn't have been the same without those classic family meals involving generous platefuls of the spherical green seeds from many different branches of the pea family. Green peas, sweet peas, chickpeas, frozen peas, black-eyed peas, peas in pods, peas on plates, peas with backpacks, tough peas, sissy peas, peas who climb on rocks, you name it, we ate it. I'm no Jeff Gordon, but what I'm driving at is this. For me, family dinners have always been quite cozy, and, as long as lima beans were not present, relatively consoling as well. Ergo, since much of our food consumption revolved around hardy leguminous Eurasian climbing plants, theoretically speaking, a pea brain could don a pea coat and pull up a chair to a wonderfully disgusting bowl of scalding pea soup, and it would in fact be all in the family. Am I making sense? Last week, a dear friend of mine got married, and I was in the wedding. I polished my pearly whites, combed my unkempt hair, borrowed my dad's dress shoes, and made sure I was as well-groomed as any groomsman could ever hope to be. As an extremely average kid without the lengthiest list of friends in the world, I'll admit I've only attended a handful of weddings in my day. However, I've driven home from each of them with such a unique rush of feeling. It's almost indescribable. You know how you watch a really good movie and leave the theater far more impressed and inspired than you ever expected you'd be? It's some sort of wildly sentimental atmosphere where solemnity and happiness collide. A heavy-handed seriousness. A sacred, significant feeling. I felt like I'd just finished the last page of a good book I never wanted to end. A marvelous marriage it was, and I tremendously happy for the two who exchanged vows, rings, and ultimately hearts. And what would a marvelous marriage be without food? A true fellowship of the ring. From left to right, Paul, Andy, myself, and Tony, the groom. Brother Daniel can be seen giving the groom a well-deserved Heimlich, and we mustn't forget Sister Sarah up to something sneaky in the background. Yeah, weddings and stuff. One time I was by myself on a bus somewhere in Wyoming. I had earbuds stuffed in my ears and I was staring out the window listening to music. The bus pulled over and a legit cowboy got on. This guy was for real. Wide-brimmed Stetson, horseback spurs, black snakeskin cowboy boots, enormous stainless steel belt buckle in the shape of Texas, rawhide gloves flapping from one back pocket, tightest jeans I've ever seen in my life, and the classic red plaid twilled cowboy button-up. He even had a huge leather holster, but to my dismay, no gun. As he climbed aboard, I felt a wave of admiration waft over me like the smell of cow manure and creosote that followed suit. The little boy in me has always wanted to be a cowboy. This is ironic because being a cowboy is grown man's work. I turned the thought over in my mind as the bus grumbled back towards the highway. The newly boarded passenger jangled and clanked down the aisle, gripping the seats of either side with hands like iron vices, and finally dropping into the seat next to me. I sat up a little straighter and continued looking out the window. The bus was practically empty. There were a million empty seats. Why did he have to sit beside me? I'm the sort of guy who likes his space, but I fought off the twang of dignity and looked at the bright side. Here I was sitting next to a cowboy. A real one. All I could think about were John Wayne quotes from epic westerns. Suddenly he turned and inspected me. So you listen to heavy metal? I pulled out one earbud. I'm sorry? I said. Heavy metal. Do you listen to it? I took a breath. Oh, not really. I used to listen to a little bit of hardcore in high school, but I'm not so into it anymore. I think it's talented stuff, though. He glanced at my iPod and chuckled to himself. Is that heavy metal? You mean what I'm listening to right now? Yeah. No, it's just a band I like. What are they called? They're called Unwed Sailor. Are they heavy metal? I cleared my throat. No, they're like instrumental, experimental indie, really catchy stuff. What's that supposed to mean? I shifted my weight. They're really complex, great songs, brilliant writing, really creative, lots of things going on at once. So you like Nickelback? Oh, not so much. They're not really my thing, I guess. Pantera? Not really. Kiss? No. He glared at me. Why not? You think heavy metal is stupid? I wouldn't say that, I just, I don't know. The conversation was becoming awkward, but if I thought it was going anywhere to begin with, it suddenly veered off and took a left turn. Hey, want to hear a song I wrote? He asked. I hesitated. You mean like you're gonna sing it for me right now? Yeah, is that weird? I mean, no, but sure, let's hear it. I readied myself. I was on a bus in dusty Wyoming sitting next to a singing cowboy. This was gonna be good. There weren't that many passengers aboard the bus to begin with, but those that were, all rubbernecked around and stared open-mouthed as Heavy Metal swung his boots over the empty seat in front of him, threw his head back, and began to sing. I can't even describe what happened next. I could never have prepared myself for what ensued. He didn't even really sing. He crowed. Oh, well, I found Spanish doubloon in a cowboy. So I washed it off with the hose, yeah, the hose. Then I drove it into town, fixing to buy me a brewski. But then I lost it, yeah, I lost it. I dropped it down a rat hole, yeah, a smelly rat hole. So then I swung by Johnson's and ate me some celery. Thrum, thrum, doo-dee-doo, ha, ha, ha. It was deafening. He bellowed at the top of his lungs, finished it off with a loud, throaty gurgle, and turned to give me the toothiest grin I'd ever seen. I was incredulous. You must understand that I don't pride myself on critically critiquing other people's music. I feel mean when I catch myself doing that. I try to avoid nitpicking the work of another artist because, as we all know, no two minds think exactly alike, and what one piece of writing means something to one person may mean something totally different to someone else. I like that. It's one of the things that categorizes music under art instead of math. I hate math. There's no formula with music. There's no right answer. Music is greater than math. However, if there ever was a wrong answer, this cowboy's equation was starting to add up. It was fascinating. It was awesome. I lied through my teeth. Yup, he said. We sat in awkward silence for a minute as I intently gazed out the window at the world whipping by, trying not to persuade an encore. The bus began to slow as we pulled into town where I was scheduled to get off. Suddenly, he tapped me hard on the shoulder. Hey, wanna have a thumb war? No thank you, I said uncomfortably. Hey, wanna see where the sow got me? I think I'm good. He pointed a greasy finger at my iPod. Hey, can I listen to your Walkman? Thankfully, we were almost there. I stood up and told him this was my stop. He got up to let me out, but one cowboy boot caught on the seat under him and he thrashed about for a second before giving a shout and crashing into the aisle. Everyone stared in stunned silence. After hollering out a string of profanities I wouldn't even repeat to a salty sailor, he tugged his Stetson back onto his head and called out to me as I made my way towards the exit. Hey, listen to Heavy Metal! I looked back and saw him standing in the middle of the aisle, giving me the Devil Horns rock on sign and making a fierce face only an Ace Frehley could love. I gave him a wide grin and a thumbs up and stepped off the bus into the sunshine. I have all the love in the world for Wyoming, but perhaps I've gained an insight for why it's affectionately known as the Cowboy State. To put it mildly, I like Wyoming. I like it a lot.